Hi everyone, Gavin from CSV Getter here. I'm going to show you in this video a really cool way of getting data from a Notion database like this one and have it automatically available in this Google Sheet. Now that could be to have a regular backup of your Notion data or just to have your Notion data ready in another platform for analysis. So you want to go over to the CSV Getter app and make sure that you have Notion connected. If you've not done this before, you'll have to go into Account and press Connect Notion. You can then select the pages that you'd like the CSV Getter platform to have access to. My song database, which is in Notion here, is in the Dev Sandbox. So I'm going to go ahead and press Allow Access. So now I want to take the song database as the subject for my export URL in CSV Getter. If you're not familiar with export URLs in CSV Getter, it's a way of selecting a database and creating basically an endpoint for downloading all the data from that database. And it's really useful in lots of processes like this one. I'm just going to go ahead and name my export Notion Songs. Okay, so this screen is going to show us a sample of this database here. So we're basically seeing a mirror image of this database in Notion. Now there's loads of things you can do with the data here. There's loads of things you can go ahead and build. You can deselect and reorder your fields. But in this video we're going to focus on the spreadsheet import function. So we are focusing on G Sheets. There's also instructions here about how to get your data into Excel. But right now for this video for G Sheets, we're going to follow these instructions here. So first thing we're going to do in Google Sheets is press the Extensions tab, and we're going to press AppScript. If you're not familiar with AppScript, it's basically a way of building a plugin for your Google Sheet, and you can put custom code here, which is Google AppScript code, which is a lot like JavaScript. In CSV Getter, we've actually written the code for you. What this code's doing is it's taking your CSV Getter URL, it's fetching the entire contents of the URL, which will be your entire Notion database, and it's going to overwrite the sheet with the contents of the URL. So what I'll do is I'll just copy that here and paste it into my Google AppScript code.js file. And once we press save, that's just basically good to go. So if we press run here, it's going to run the function that we've just created called CSV Getter. Now, since we are running this for the first time, what we've essentially done is we've created a new app for our sheet, and we have to give this app permission to run. Now, it's going to give you a warning saying that this app has been unverified, and the reason for that is because you've essentially just created the app. This is a fresh app, but it's got a very small amount of read-only code, so there's nothing to worry about here. But if you'd like to learn more about it, then you can just maybe give the code a closer inspection and check that you're happy with everything. So I'm going to go ahead and allow this Google AppScript app to write to my Google Sheet. And as you can see, that's been performed. So execution has started, execution is completed. Back over in my sheet, you can see it is now updated with my Notion data. Every time I run this function, it's going to overwrite the sheet with the latest data from my Notion database. So that's an example of us manually running our CSV Getter function to update the sheet. But what if we want this to happen in the background, to know that our Notion data is being backed up every day or every hour? Well, we can do that by going into the Triggers section here in AppScript. So if you come over here, you have the option to create a trigger. So I press Add Trigger. And the function we want to run is CSV Getter. And this is the event source. We want this to be time-driven. And with the time-driven, this is where we get the opportunity to select a cadence of how often we want this to run. So let's say I want it to run every day at 5 a.m. So basically it's going to say every day at 5 a.m. this function is going to run and update our Google Sheet. So things are very much happening in the background. Press save there. So now we've saved this into our triggers. So this is going to be time-based, and this is going to run basically every day at 5 a.m. And that's basically how you keep your Notion data backed up easily in a Google Sheet. You can obviously go on to perform some analysis on this data or have some built-in functions which will be updated daily. I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions about the CSV Getter platform and how CSV Getter works, we're going to have a link to the documentation, our docs site, in the description, which should tell you a bit more about how everything works. And we've also got a help email, which is info@csvgetter.com. So you can reach out anytime and ask any further questions about the process. Thank you very much for watching.